Okay. Yes, I do.
Okay,
And the other thing too is that just for the record, if you could have a roll call vote. So that means like instead of just everybody saying aye so that we can identify you, would say Chris,
Yep.
Martha, Mark,
yep,
Stephen.
okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
thank-
yes. When we have a vote, please call your name and then state your position, please. So the first order of business is going to be the approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which was November 6th, 2019. That was a long time ago. Are there any changes, any additions to the minutes, or are they okay as presented? Can I have a motion?
I have something to change in the minutes,
Okay.
and that is they misspelled my name.
Oh,
okay.
The whole thing. So
Martha, here's the good news. Good news is the person that we hired to do these isn't doing them for us anymore. The bad news is we have to find somebody else, but I will take the C out of there on all the accounts.
thank you.
Yes, you bet.
okay. And then absent, I mean, I don't see my name, so as being present, so clearly that would be a,
I believe, wasn't Chris, didn't you run this meeting?
yeah.
I
Kristen.
did. Yep.
All right.
Okay, so absent was me.
Absent would be Louise.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. And then we're all aware of the, sorry. We had somebody who left the commission. Is everybody aware of that?
No.
Hank, is everybody aware?
I am not aware.
No.
I'm not aware.
Okay.
Kevin has joined us. So Kevin is our new commissioner. So for those of you that haven't met him, here's an opportunity to give Kevin a quick hi. I'm sure we'll get to see more of him when we can actually see each other. But we're looking forward to his participation.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, then I'll, with that change of Martha's name and the addition of my name as being absent, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I can make a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections as noted.
Second?
I second it.
Okay, second by Martha. Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Well, we need a vote.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented with the two minor changes,
We need the roll call though.
please, yep. Robert,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Martha,
Aye.
Jane? Oh, his mic is off.
Aye.
Steve?
Aye. Can you hear me?
Mark?
Okay.
Donna?
No, Donna's not a voter. It's Kevin and Rick.
She's right.
He's
Okay.
an applicant.
Okay, yeah. Rick? Is on?
Yeah, Rick's on.
Rick?
Yes.
You approve minutes?
Yes.
Okay, and me, I approve.
And
Okay.
Kevin, you need.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. The new technology, right?
Hank, if you want, you could also use the chat window and we could put our votes so you can just download it. Just lesson learned, you can download it.
The person that takes this is going to actually watch this and transcribe
Okay,
it.
perfect.
That's how we're doing it.
Okay.
It's how we're set up.
Okay, so the minutes are passed. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is the Monson application 26606 York.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, you guys are on?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah. So our application is to install a privacy fence. I live on the corner lot at Salem and York, and I have the front of my house faces York, and the side backyard of my house faces Salem, right there across from the Chase Bank.
Yep.
And when I bought my house, there were 2 existing fences that were there on the lot. One is a chain link fence that goes around the perimeter of my backyard, and it has a chain link gate that opens into my driveway. And the other was a wood privacy fence that went around the perimeter of my patio, which was, I think, 10 feet back from the chain link to meet the requirement of a privacy fence being 10 feet from the sidewalk, I believe. And so what happened is there was a storm last summer that knocked down that existing privacy fence that went along my patio. There was damage to my patio and all that stuff. But anyways, what we would like to do, what we think would be the most effective, as I'm trying to keep my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old safe, as we live right there off a pretty busy street on Woodward, is to keep the area enclosed. And so what we were thinking was the chain link fence is like, it's kind of an eyesore. It's old, it's kind of rusty. And we would like to enclose the area and gain privacy. And so our request is to have the sections that are chain link right now become a privacy fence.
Okay.
And are you ready for what I might be able to add, Louise, or?
Yep. City comments, please, Hank.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of lay this out a little bit because I know that Shane's up somewhere much nicer than I am. So if you can think the lot, if anybody has gone and actually done a site visit at this lot, you know where it is. So basically, kitty corner from him is the Chase Bank, which has a myriad of issues as it pertains to this property. One is there's headlights that routinely come in there, and the privacy fence would help block that out. Second, the request for a privacy screen centers around safety and privacy for that particular lot because of its proximity to Woodward and because of that. One of the contentions would be is that that particular lot is different than the other lots because it actually sits on one of the busiest corners. So the other corners that come off of Woodward, with the possible exception of Borgman, which is one of the most high traffic one, would not have the same amount of traffic as they would have going into the Chase Bank. As a result, they would like to have a little bit more privacy, which they did have before the screen blew down. And then it would also allow them to have privacy for their entire backyard. So that's one of the things. So having said that, there's 4 possible configurations that they were looking at. One is to follow the existing configurations with a privacy fence. This would require a variance as you cannot obstruct vision 10 feet from the edge of the driveway corner, both up the driveway and along the property line. That's not likely to happen because you run into the variance to get something where you have a safety issue backing out of the driveway. You can't see what's coming down the sidewalk. You could take out a bicycle, a pedestrian, pick one. So that's not likely to happen, but it is one of the options. 2, follow the existing lines except create the 10-foot triangle at the base of the driveway. This is more palatable as far as it goes with a privacy fence. And the reason for that is that our code allows a privacy fence normally there, but it is in the historic district, so it would require your approval. And the thing that would be is that we require 10 foot up the driveway and 10 foot along the sidewalk. So it creates a triangle. And the reason for that is that that's the field of vision so that you don't take out a bicycle or a pedestrian or any passersby when you back out. That's the second option. The third option is to follow the existing lines and create a 10-foot triangle at the base of the driveway and return the privacy fence up the driveway to the garage on the drive side closest to the home. What this does is that it gives them their privacy fence and allows it to continue so they have a completed privacy screen up the driveway. The fourth one would be just add the bottom of the driveway angled privacy fence using the 10-foot rule and just continuing up the driveway to the garage without replacing the rest of the chain link fence as the other options might dictate. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So I provided you the options in the agenda. I also provided you with an aerial view of the property so that you could see the proximity to the Chase Bank and what they are faced with that. And the way that the garage is situated, their only space for family gatherings and for people and to entertain is on that particular side of the house. So having said that, a privacy fence is not something that is an administrative approval, so I could not sign off on that without the HDC. As a result, Shane Monson is here before you, and Lindsay. I didn't mean to not say hi. Hi, Lindsay. They're here before you to ask for this. So if you have any questions of them, you should feel free to ask them. Also, if there's any questions you have, I'm happy to answer to the extent that I can.
Okay, Shane and Lindsay, do you have anything to add to the comments that Hank has just made?
Just want to thank Hank for all of the help and all of his suggestions. And
Yeah, I think Hank pretty much covered it. I know it's a lot of options. I don't know if everything registered, it's a lot of things going on, but if you have any clarification, let us know.
Okay, well, hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to, I know I did. All right, so I'm just gonna start at the top of the screen. Robert, do you have any questions for the Monsons?
I do have a question. What is the material of the proposed fencing?
Of which the proposed would be the privacy. If it was privacy, it would be wood, cedar.
And if it's not privacy?
If it's not privacy, I mean, right now it's a chain link fence, so
plan to switch.
we could switch to a black barred style fence. That would be not privacy.
I'm pretty much exclusively interested in what the materials would be. That's it.
Yeah, so privacy would be wood.
Okay. That's it for me, Louise.
Okay, Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Number one, I did visit the site, and I've noticed even spontaneously on my own visits that is a very, very busy corner. And I think that the traffic that comes into there, I've noticed that probably about 80 to 90% of the traffic that turns down the street there goes into the bank. And I think that there's an undue burden on the property owners to have a lack of privacy and the headlights and just, a lot of people, and there might be good people, there might be bad people. Maybe people want to go in there and hold up the 24-hour teller. I really don't know. But I've noticed spontaneously it's a corner that really, I think, imposes an undue burden on the property owners. I noticed that there's some sort of construction going on in the backyard, and I was wondering if any of these options interferes or impedes any of the usage that you had planned for whatever is going on back there.
Well, no, no,
Go ahead.
it wouldn't impede.
Okay, so you're basically happy and content with any of the options that Hank has laid out in his presentation with the angling of the and creation of this triangular sort of situation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first option that Hank laid out would be obviously our favorite option, being that it wouldn't be angling from the 10-foot barrier, because then we'd be able to include the entirety of our space back there. But if it need be that way, that is our second favorite option.
Just for clarification, if I might, Madam Chair, on
Yes.
that, even though this is a historic district thing, if you chose to approve that, they would still need to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals to get that, because that's in the zoning ordinance as well. So this would be a situation where the historic would not trump that. It would not trump the safety feature. So they would need to go to another board to get that. The 10-foot triangle you could approve tonight, in assuming approval, which I do not know that would happen.
Okay,
They would be out the door this evening with an approval.
so that's option one, they have to go to the ZBA.
That is correct.
Okay,
Okay.
well, and I understand the safety concerns, and I think that it does represent a pretty undue burden on the public to have a car backing out with no way to know what's back there until after the car is all the way out the driveway and the driver has a view down the sidewalk. you mentioned cedar. Would this be an untreated cedar wood, like a natural type of cedar where we don't have the coloration of a green treatment into the wood?
No, it would be the color of cedar.
Okay. Well, that's all I have to ask and comment on.
Okay, Hank, do you want to address at all the patio?
Well, the patio was something that was damaged, and they had taken out the patio because it was damaged and cracked and was a trip hazard. So they're putting in a just straight finished concrete. There's no like, it's just a straight flat concrete. There's nothing inordinate to it. It will have like an exposed aggregate finish, if I remember correctly, but it's nothing that's out of the ordinary, and that was within the limits of the administrative approvals.
Okay, that's fantastic. Just since Steve referenced it, and I thought we might as well just for
Well,
everybody.
that's fine, and we should. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that that's a different animal and not before you this evening.
Right. That's just for clarification purposes.
Yes.
Okay, Chris, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Sorry, I was on mute. No, I think I am fine with all of the options as presented.
Okay, Mark?
I have no questions. My only concern would be the safety issue on option 1, but other than that, I think the triangle issue would be most effective in allowing them to have full use of their property as they do now. So that would be my favorite option, but I don't have any problem with any of the other 3.
Okay, great. Martha, do you have any questions?
No, I went to visit today and so are you planning on leaving the wood as is, since it's cedar, so that it gets worn? Or I just noticed that you had like a little, I don't know if you call it a porte-cochere, that little bridge that goes from your house to your garage with a little roof. And I noticed that was painted white. And I guess I was wondering if you were planning on painting it to match that, or if you're just going to leave the bare wood and let it weather.
Are you talking about our walkway? Are we doing anything
Yes.
to the walkway? No, we're not doing anything.
No, I wasn't asking if you're doing anything to the walkway. I noticed that the walkway is painted white.
Oh, were we gonna paint the wood?
Right.
We were not.
Okay. All right. Other than that, I totally agree. I actually think that a privacy fence of the nature that you want to build is going to be more attractive than the chain link fence you have right now. And I'm just concerned, as the others are, about the safety issue. So whatever
Yep.
is allowable is okay with me. So.
Thank you.
Just one other point for clarification, as long as nobody else has chimed in here.
Did you get that, Hank?
Yeah, if you want to approve it with that, like with the wood straight and no triangle with it, you approve it subject to the Zoning Board of Appeals approval of the variance, because they will need a variance for that. So I don't want to lose sight of that. So if there is a maker for the motion, that would have to be part of the motion. Or
Okay.
you can make one of the others and incorporate that into that. And I just want to make sure that we get the exact wording for the motion, because if they're going to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals, the fence isn't going to happen anytime quick for them too. So I just want to be clear on that.
Okay, okay, always good to remember. We'll keep that in mind when we get to the motion portion. Rick, do you have any questions? No? Okay, and I don't have any questions either. I drove by that.
We haven't
and,
heard
I
from
agree with
Kevin.
Martha that the chain
Or
link fence.
Jim, right?
Or Jim.
The wood fence, who else?
We still
Jim
need Jim
and
and Kevin.
Yes, two more
Oh,
commissioners here.
sorry,
My,
Kevin.
hey, Hank, my only question is for you regarding the administrative side of this. Like, if we were to approve option 1, then that gets rejected. by the Zoning Board of Appeals, do we, can we still embody approval for option 2, which includes the triangle here, so they don't have to return?
That's what you would do, is you would do, it would do lesser. But when you turn it over to the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Zoning Board of Appeals can't grant more than what's advertised. And what I would do is advertise what you would approve, okay? Then if there's any type of issue, they can always approve less. The zoning board can always approve less, but what they can't do is they can't approve more than what's advertised, because whatever's public notice is the maximum for what they can approve.
Yeah. So if I were someone who believed they should be able to do whatever they want, I would say that we should approve option one, and then they should go to the zoning board for clarification.
Right,
Correct.
and then that would be their option. But having failed that, what you might want to do is you might use verbiage that incorporate number 1, and then failing number 1, following the existing lines except creating a triangle at the base of the driveway and extending forward and extending towards the garage, which would actually be option 3. So that's what you might want to do, and just incorporate it so that way there's no gray area. Because if the ZBA chooses to deep six this outright and there is no compromise by the ZBA, then they would have to come back, and that would not, we would rather have them, if they have to go to another board, we would rather have it happen one time.
Correct. Thank you. That's all I have. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
I've got one question, if that's okay.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Of the options, which one alleviates most of the risks related to backing out, or people, the visibility essentially?
3.
And obviously the privacy is for your children. You said you got young children. If they're coming down the driveway, will they have as good a visibility of potentially the traffic coming along the road as they're coming down the driveway, as just forgetting being in the vehicle coming along?
Well, with the 10 foot, what that's been determined, and Kevin, that's what's in our ordinance. And the reason for that is that when you're backing down the driveway, there's a point where the vehicle gets towards the sidewalk, and that would be a point of impact, if you will. You should be able to, at that point in time, look and see if there's anybody coming, but you're not going to be able to do that with a complete privacy fence. But with the 10-foot triangle, you felt comfortable that you would, and that's how that happened at the Planning Commission.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay, does anybody have any additional questions or anything else to add? Is there somebody who'd like to make a motion?
I will.
Okay.
I would move to approve the application consistent with option number 2, which is a 10-foot triangle. And I believe that's consistent with all the guidelines.
So the other issue with that, just for clarification, is that would not give them the gate that goes up to the garage. So they wouldn't have a privacy screen up to the garage. If you take 2, if you take 3, they would have the privacy screen all the way up to the garage. So I just want to be clear that that's what.
Would that still include the 10-foot triangle?
Yes.
Okay,
Just,
then that's what I have in mind.
Yeah, 3. It starts, the other part of the privacy screen starts at the up the driveway portion of the 10-foot fence, and then it goes towards the garage. So they would have it would be all privacy, but it would be, and this would also include the chain link portion that's there now, so the fence would be homogeneous. And then they could do, that would give them basically everything that they've asked for without, but they'd have to comply with the triangle.
Okay, without diagrams in the package, it was difficult for me to visualize.
Yeah, we just got new computers, and I don't have the software yet.
Mark,
So
I would motion. Excuse me. Do the property owners have a preference between option 2 and option 3?
So
I
yeah,
thought-
no, I think we have our option, our preferred option, if without option 1 would be option 3.
Okay, thank you.
There is
That being the
there-
case,
I
I
don't
would
know.
amend my motion to approve option 3.
Okay, is there anybody who'd like to second motion, number 3, to let the applicants move forward with their fence? Or somebody have a different idea?
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Rick, is that you? Rick?
This is Jim. I called second.
Okay. Rick, we can hardly hear you.
I'm not talking.
All right, then I guess that's okay.
I
So-
do want to. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to make one other point clear, and I just don't. I want to make sure that if it needs some sort of approval, it's not explicitly. It hasn't explicitly been discussed. But when we say we have a chain link fence currently, part of that chain link is a chain link gate that goes over the driveway. And one of the things we're considering doing is replacing that chain link with like a more with like a black barred style, like updated aluminum type fence that's black instead of the rusted chain link, and just wanted to make sure that if we did that, that would also be acceptable.
That would fall under an administrative approval, but you're welcome to ask them.
Okay,
That's our plan.
so sorry, just didn't know. I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
'cause
that
that's visible through what, I just can't approve anything that's a privacy. I have
got
to
it. Okay,
go
sorry,
to the board.
got it.
Okay, so we have on the table a motion to approve option 3, and a second by Mark Fink, and a second by, was it Rick?
No, Jim.
Okay,
Jim Malore.
okay, Jim, or is there any discussion or amendment? Anybody?
Or public
I,
participation.
well, sorry, if there's discussion, I'd like to have some discussion about that. If the homeowner preferred option 1, even though it is subject to ZBA, I would prefer that the motion say that they have the option to do any of the proposed options subject to both. We're voting on the historic provisions, the safety. I'm a big believer that with backup cameras, that I don't feel that there would be a safety issue on option 1, and I would prefer the motion to allow them to do whatever they wanted to. I mean, any of the 3 options subject to the ZBA approval.
The only thing being is that the ZBA would only need to approve option 1.
Correct, but if I said that with the motion says they're allowed to exercise any of the available options subject to ZBA approval, if it fails, if option 1 fails, they can do 2 or 3.
That would be fine as long as Mr. Fink accepts your friendly amendment.
That's why I
Mark?
threw it out there for discussion.
Thanks, Chris. Mark, do you have any comments?
I can't accept the amendment because I am concerned about the safety issue. I live at the other end of the same block. I'm very familiar with that intersection and the traffic there. And I think there is simply too much cross traffic to allow visibility to be diminished.
And Hank, I would just ask, is that of under our purveyance? I think as a historic district commissioner, I'm not talking about safety and public safety. I should be talking about focus on the historic. I live obviously on that block as well. And again, I just go back to my point that with backup cameras, the peripheral vision on a backup camera is amazing.
Right. And again, here's the thing. Yes, you want to consider the historic, but with this kind of thing is based on the case for the privacy fence is predicated on part of this, then I think it opens the door for you to at least address it.
Okay, thanks.
It doesn't, it wouldn't hurt you. It wouldn't hurt you either way. But by at least doing this, you're acknowledging that there is a safety concern, so it creates a record moving forward. Whether you feel it is or not.
Yep, thanks. Thanks for the clarification.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Okay, all those in favor of Mark's motion to approve, excuse me? Robert,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Chris,
Nay.
okay, Mark, you made the motion. Martha,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Rick,
Yes.
and me as well. So,
Don't forget Jim.
oh, Jim, sorry.
I'm a nay as well.
Okay, so that's 2 nays and 7 yays. Motion passes. Option 3.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, anything else we need on this, Hank?
Nope, you're good at this point. Shane, you're certainly free to go back and enjoy your lake.
Okay, great.
But we have no further business for your appeal this evening, and the chair will move it on.
Okay, is there anything that we need to do for the process going forward here, or?
Yeah, before we do, so we don't do this at the meeting, why don't you just give me a call and I'll explain how the permit and everything would work.
Okay, great. Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night
Good weekend.
too.
Okay. All right. Okay, moving on. Hank, unless you have anything to add, we'll move on to the O'Connor window application at 26506 Henry.
I do not.
Okay. Donna, are you?
Yes,
is
hi.
Donna on?
Yes,
Hi, Donna.
hi. This is my husband, Tom.
Hi.
Thanks, everyone,
Hi,
for
Tom.
thanks, everyone, for going through this Zoom exercise with us. We do appreciate it. We're seeking today a certificate of appropriateness with respect to the replacement of our existing windows. And this covers some of the windows in our home. The existing windows are wood windows. They're double hung windows. And the replacement windows would be double hung, and they would be wood windows with an exterior aluminum cladding, which, as I understand, is the only thing that stands in the way of an administrative approval. The windows as they exist today are divided panes, and the proposed windows would be divided panes as well, the same number of panes and the same size of the panes, so they would look the same as the existing windows. And then the color also, I don't know if this matters, but the color we chose is consistent with the oldest picture we have of the house, which we think is from a survey from 1973. So it's the same kind of off-white color. So we're trying to stick as close as possible to what is there. We think that the design and the arrangement, the texture and the materials that we're proposing to use are consistent with the existing windows design, arrangement, texture, and materials. From an aesthetic point of view, again, they look very, very similar. And so I think we're meeting the requirement there. We're not changing any architectural feature with respect to the windows. So it's very like with like type of thing. So there's no change to an awning window or anything like that. In terms of the historic value, there is nothing unusual or unique about these windows. In other words, there's not like a really special, leaded glass window or something like that that we're replacing. They're just sort of standard double hung divided pane windows. And so in and of themselves, I don't think that we're doing anything to distract or to detract from the historic value of the home. The relationship to the neighborhood, I think, is part of the standard as well. And we have noted when we're in the neighborhood in the Hill District that there are other homes that have replaced their original windows with wood windows with aluminum cladding. And when we look at those windows, we see them as being, you know, attractive in the home, appropriate in the home, consistent with the historic value of the home, as well as with the surrounding neighborhood. And in fact, it was only when we started actually looking that I could really tell the difference in asking neighbors, are those, you know, aluminum clad? So I think that the appearance and the materials that we're choosing, that we've chosen, would be consistent both with the home itself and also with the surrounding area. So the why of why we're doing it is really the function issue. What we're finding is that with the painting and the caulking and so on over the years, and just the age, the windows are difficult to operate. Some of them are kind of out of square, which makes them difficult to open and close. Others, you know, we can open them and, you know, they'll slam shut. So the function is becoming an issue, and that is very important to us because we use the windows, I think, the way they would have been used when the house was built, which is, I would never have the air on. It's on right now. We open, you know, we're opening and closing the windows a lot for, you know, air circulation and cooling the house, and
opening during the day, closing them at night. And they are basically, I'm the only one who can do it because they are years and years of paint and other things. They're just tough.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's our request, and we think that we have met the standards as nearly as we can, and would seek your approval.
Okay, okay, thank you. So it's safe to say that you're pretty much replacing like for like windows?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hank, city have anything, any comments too?
Yeah, and perhaps a clarification or two here. I believe when I spoke to the O'Connors originally, they had said that somebody had come out and tried to fix the windows back when the Walacos owned the house, and that the repair had failed on some of the windows that were addressed. Is my recollection correct?
Yes.
It's close.
Okay.
We were told by Mr. Walaco that he spent $6,000 to reglaze the windows. But it didn't really affect the functionality issue, apparently, because it just reglazed the old single pane windows.
Okay, so it wasn't like the windows were completely redone. It just the sash is taken out, sanded, put back in.
I don't know.
That part did not happen. Okay.
Yeah, clearly nothing was done with the frames.
Okay, and I just wanted the clarification on that, because I know that Peter Walaco had done some things, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was that he had done. So I just wanted to be clear on that. Other than that, these windows that you have in there now, for clarification, these are TDLs or true divided light windows. Is that correct? These are single. The ones you have in now, they're not?
I don't know how to tell the difference, to be honest, but
Okay.
they could very well be. I mean, they were put in 1937.
Okay, then they're going to be true divided light windows.
Yeah.
And the windows that you are proposing, are those SDLs or simulated divided lights, where there's a line in the middle of them that it differentiates the two, and it has an aesthetic appearance similar to a true divided light, but it doesn't, and has the insulation value because of the way that they did that. It's not individual panes. Is that correct?
Yeah, in the Marvin website, there are three different, there's the true divided light, and then there's basically the drawing on, the things you can remove. So we have the middle option, and in between the glass, you can see the spacer that separates it and gives it more of an historical appearance.
Okay, so there is material. It's not a line drawn on the glass. There is material between the two. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Okay. Other than that, I think they pretty well explained what it is that they want to do. You have received photographs showing some of the windows in the condition for which they're describing. I don't have anything to add to that. I don't know if anybody went out and did site visits for this. But if you have any questions, to the extent that I can answer them, or to the extent that the O'Connors can answer them, I'm sure that we would all be happy to do so.
Okay. Robert, do you have any questions for Hank or the O'Connors?
I do. As I understand it, this is not a true divided light window. This is an insert that replicates the appearance.
Correct.
Okay, that's my only
It
question.
is, but it is one that uses a spacer in between the windows to, to make that appearance better than the kind that you pop out.
Yeah, and if you look at them, you would not necessarily know that they're not true divided unless you were told, because there is material in the space.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve?
No, I really don't have any questions. I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, great. Chris?
Just a quick question about, unfortunately, I did not get to visit, so my apologies on that. But what are the, in terms of the window profiles, the sight lines, like how big is the sash on the new window compared to the old? Hank, is that something you know, or the
Well, we
O'Connors,
have
if you know?
the tear sheets that you got from this. So basically what you're looking at is the window sizes that they have, but in their mock-up for this right here, let's see, 5/8 SDLs, which is going to be the spacer bars. So your muttons are going to be 5/8. They're not true muttons, and I don't want to mislead anybody on that. But you're looking
I'm really more asking about the sashes, because, part of
3¼ inch jams.
what are the existing
right
versus
now.
the new, I guess, is my question.
That I do not have.
Can you educate me when you say sash? What are you talking about?
Sure. So the window has, a frame that goes around it.
Yeah.
And then, so the historic, what they look for is they look for that profile. When you look at the
Yeah.
window, they want to know if that sash, is relatively the same size in terms of the dimensional
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
the
it is.
existing. And that's, we want it to be the same sight line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, one of the reasons why we chose the aluminum ones, the aluminum clad ones, rather than the vinyl clad ones, the vinyl clad ones did not have the same. They had bigger. They did not have the same profile. Thank you.
Profiles and sight lines. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, but the aluminum ones are very close.
So then, would it be safe to say for clarification for Chris, what are we looking at here for your rails and stiles on the, are you looking at 2¼ to 2½ inches for those? Is that accurate?
I can measure.
Well, I guess I'm going to be comfortable with, if you capture, the intent is, and Hank, I'm going to let this be up to you. It's just what we're concerned about is we're trying to match the sight line. So we're trying to get close.
Right.
And so, Hank, I'll let you do that administratively, and I'll just make sure that it's noted in the meeting minutes that the intent is to match what's there.
Yes,
Okay.
that is.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Mark?
My concern here is the exterior appearance of the windows. If you do away with the exterior muntins, then that's going to alter the appearance. I can understand the faux muntins between the two panes of energy efficient windows, but I have to wonder if it's possible to also, or instead, have a full muntin grid on the exterior that would maintain the look of the original windows.
Well, there is.
It'll have it on both. So a simulated divided light typically will have the grill both interior and exterior, and then in addition, it has the bar in between, and that's like that's the premium.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the SDL.
That's the SDL. It will have it. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, the O'Connors, but it should
Yes,
have
it does.
on both interior and exterior mutton grills over the top.
If the commission was inclined to approve it, you could actually state that as part of the motion, whatever the preferences would be, because Chris brought up some points, as did Mark.
Mark?
I have nothing else.
Okay, and they did already say it's like for like, so,
Yeah, right.
okay, so we should be good there. Kevin?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
Yeah, my questions have been answered. Thanks.
Okay, would anybody like to make a motion to?
Rick,
You got Rick and Martha.
Oh,
Rick,
geez,
Martha
sorry,
still have to comment.
sorry, Rick, sorry, Rick.
Yeah, my question is, have you made any attempt to repair the windows, basically, pull them out and take them out? I'm doing that to my house, and my windows are from 1890, and I'm wondering how come you haven't tried that first?
We have not done that. No,
Have you looked into it?
no.
To repair them I guess our concern would be that if we repaired them, we'd still have a lot of the same structural function problems. So there's repairs and repairs. I mean, some of the repairs could be done in terms of I don't know the technical term, the thing that the pulleys and that hold them up and down, those things could probably be repaired, or maybe, I don't know. But the major problems just with the years that make them very difficult to open and close,
Well,
I don't think could be repaired.
I've got weights on my windows, just like you do, I'm sure. And, it's just a question of maintenance and doing it. And like I said, I personally, when I see people replacing windows in a historic house, when the wood is perfectly okay and there's no dry rot, that to me is upsetting, because there's been no effort on behalf of the homeowner to do anything to try to repair. Instead, you want to get rid of, and I haven't seen pictures of the new windows, the proposed windows. We usually have provided with that. We haven't gotten that at all. At least I haven't. I don't know if anybody else did. So I really can't, I don't see how we can really make a decision without seeing it.
Yeah, I think we did submit pictures.
Yeah, the pictures that we have were the ones that
Yeah.
came in that showed the inconsistencies and were like the windows being racked.
I meant the Marvin windows.
Right, no, I understand. Like you want what's going in.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we had was the tear sheet that showed the actual windows.
That gives me no information at all. We've had other windows before the commission. People have brought samples. We get to look at them, blah, blah, blah. We don't have anything here except, something on paper, and we don't have any photographs. And like I said, that's all I have to say.
If I could respond to Rick's concerns,
Sure.
I would note that bringing in samples and stuff would show us what the replacement windows would look like, but you can't bring the original equipment, original windows in to show us, and yet they're all there on the outside of the house. Each of us has been made aware of the application. We've all had the opportunity to go look for ourselves
I'm looking
and examine.
Mark, not the old ones. I'm looking at replacement windows, those photographs.
Yeah, you were talking about repairing the old windows. You would like to see that, but you have not looked at the old windows to see the actual condition.
You're right. If they want to pay me, I'm both going to do it myself.
Yeah, that's probably not an option. Okay, Martha?
I too am concerned that I can't see the material, the actual windows. It's really hard for me to get a picture of what the new Marvin windows are going to look like. And no disrespect to the homeowners, but they don't have a lot of knowledge base about, they only can go by the sheets and what they see online. And, I don't know that they understand what we mean when we talk about muntins and things like that. So I would feel a whole lot better to be able to see a sample of the actual window so we can see the profile of it and see if that muntin really is there. In it.
I'm not sure how we would do that virtually.
I suppose you'd have to hold it up in front of the camera. I mean, I can see the detail in your shirt, so I think I could see the detail in.
Does it need ironing?
No, it's actually.
Yeah. I don't have. I mean, even if they brought a window in here, I don't know that I could do that. But I mean, that's whatever you would
We
like.
could even leave it at City Hall and we can come look at it at our leisure with a mask on.
That's a good solution.
Donna, do you have access to any sample of the?
We view the windows at the Marvin store, which is on 11 Mile and Coolidge.
Okay. Yeah, generally when we're in person, I know this is a little bit, we're all online. The applicants bring in samples so that we can see it. And so it gives us a better level of comfort, you know, in what's going to be going in. Of course, you know, you said it's going to be like for like. So is there anybody else that has any other questions? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve or otherwise?
I can make a motion. I just got to get a few of the clarifications, so folks help me along the way here. But make a motion to approve the use of the Marvin Ultimate windows. And we talked about the fact that there'll be the simulated divided lights with, so that means there'll be grills, both interior, exterior, and a shadow bar within the glass.
Yes.
And that we also talked about that the windows will be a 1-for-1 replacement, so the same types of windows. And then lastly, that the intent is to meet the profiles or the dimensions on the sashes of the existing windows.
Okay, that could be approved administratively, Hank, the profiles?
That's up to you. I mean, I would, basically what I would do is we'd measure the sash and measure what's coming out of there. So I would make a visit to the house and get an actual dimension. And if it's 2 1/4 or 2 3/4, that's what I would expect to go back in.
Okay, so that it could be predicated on that?
It could be done. I mean, that's up to you in your motion, however you decide to.
Okay, Chris was kind of going in and out when he was making his motion, so could somebody repeat that?
Louise, the motion doesn't, unless I missed something because of my hearing, the motion doesn't address the guidelines. Compliance with the guidelines.
Chris?
Yeah, I don't have my guidelines in front of me, so I'm going to have Hank help me a bit.
Okay.
Because I do not have my stuff with me, so my apologies.
All righty. Well,
I mean, I know that from Department of Interior guidelines, the intent is to, again, I think I hit some of the things that are.
Basically, if you were going to stand on any of the guidelines, you would stand on 10, 9, and actually, if you were going to approve it, that's what you would stand on. If you were going to deny it, you would deny it based on 6 and let's see, 6 and 2. But
okay, so
however you want to do. So if yours is an affirmative motion, you would want to use 9 and 10 typically.
okay, 9 and 10 are?
9 and 10 are,
yeah.
for those not having this in front of them, 9 is new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment. Or 10, new additions and adjacent or related new construction shall be undertaken in a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. If you were going to take the inverse position, you would say 6, which is deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced, where the severity of deterioration requires a replacement of a distinctive feature. The new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be documented or substantiated by documentary, physical, and or pictorial evidence. 6 could also help for the affirmative, but it could also help for a negative motion too, depending on what part of that particular standard you're referencing.
Okay. Chris?
Okay, then I will say, I think 6, 9, and 10 will be the reason for my motion. Thanks for the clarification, Hank.
They're all
Yes, sir.
They're all applicable.
Okay. Would anybody like to second that motion, amend, or any comments?
I would second as submitted. No amendments.
Okay, second by Jim. All of those in favor, Robert?
Nay.
Steve?
Yes.
Chris made the motion. Mark?
Aye.
Okay. Kevin?
Aye.
Jim? Oh, you
Aye.
You second. Okay.
You need Rick and yourself and Martha.
Yeah. Rick?
No.
Martha?
Nay.
Okay. And I'm a yes. I'm a yay.
Okay, so to just to make sure on this, for the yays, I have Jim, Louise, Steve, Mark, and Chris. That would be 5 affirmative votes. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Kevin.
And Kevin.
And
Okay, that's
Kevin.
it. Okay. Okay, so it's 6 votes affirmative, then that motion would pass.
Okay. 3. Okay, great. So Donna, please meet with Hank. Your application has been approved. Replace windows like for like. Hank will make sure that
Yeah, and just for clarifications, I will have to measure those
he'll
sashes.
make sure they match in size and scale.
Okay,
Okay,
very good, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thanks for joining us this evening. Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so we're on to, what are we on to? New business. We have to have election of officers. Or Hank, is there anything else in between here?
No, why don't we do the election of officers? And then I may have more stuff for next month, but I just, it's very difficult to do out of all the boards and commissions, and we've done them all on this. I just want to say it's very difficult to give you what we normally would do on these because of either technical capabilities, logistics, that kind of thing. I think actually that Rick's suggestion of previously, to maybe have a sample here and you can come by and take a look at it. Something like that may be possible to do. I just don't want to, I just don't want to promise what I can't deliver. And again, there's like a lot of logistics and a lot of different things that are going on as far as protocols from the city for COVID. So, somebody would have to come in during normal business hours, whether that's feasible for you or not. But, I could hold up the window. I don't know that helps anything, but just for clarification. If you have,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hank. I have a couple recommendations on that. Just with the windows. Typically, if the manufacturer can provide some sectional details of the windows that we can then happen to be doing an awful lot of Zoom lately. So happy to be able to pull those up on screen and share screens of those details, and that might help some of that help facilitate the discussion.
Yeah, we can do that. With this, I was furnished with the photos of what they submitted in that. The city right now is not allowing us to go into, I don't want to say allowing us, but they're recommending that we don't go into people's houses. So any additional stuff that I might get, I'm going to get.
Yeah, I would put the burden on the applicants, honestly, a little bit, because again, as part of the Department of Interior's guidelines, it does talk quite extensively about profiles and other things. And so they should be able to, at least, even if they're getting them up at door and window in Berkeley, they can get manufacturer standard section details, et cetera, to provide to us.
Not only that, they know where we're at and we know where they're at. So
well, I mean, and I couldn't find them fast enough online while we were talking, but I can certainly help with those things to do my best to get the details.
We'll look towards and see what we need for August, or for the August meeting. Other than that, I mean, I'm sorry, Louise, I didn't even mean to interrupt. You should continue with your elections at this
I'll
point.
quickly ask a question.
Yes, sir.
On the guidance that do the applicants know about that they should be giving
Yes.
samples or okay.
Yeah, they do. And it even says on that, it's just at this point in time with this particular meeting being virtual, Historic is a unique board and commission. And the reason for it is that we do get samples. We actually have even had people bring in shingle samples just to see what it is, as far as architectural. Unfortunately, with things being the way that they are, the translation of that would be difficult. And it's also unfair for me to ask everybody that may be quarantining at home to come into City Hall to take a look at it. So that would be something you would have to make a decision for. But the goal here would be to try to do the best job possible, but the applicants are made aware of exactly what they need to do. And to the extent that they do 100% of it, it usually helps the decision. To the extent that they don't, usually may put some people on the fence to come down on one side or another where they would have had an opportunity, to go forward. So it's relative to, it helps their case to give us more information, and they are aware of that.
Well, I think that especially with this commission over and above many of the other ones, that even if they can show us a photo instead of a line drawing rendering of the window or whatever else it is that they're proposing, I think that's better, the existing and then what they're proposing. So maybe
basically they gave us their contract. That's what they gave us pretty much.
Well, right, but still, to Rick's point, or in Martha, even if you can hold it up online, it's easier to see it and compare it to what's already there than just, kind of taking their word for it and,
We'll see what we could do. In the meantime, the HGC has said, check this out. So I intend to check this out. I'm going to measure this stuff. So, I expect the mutton pattern to be the same. I expect the mutton pattern to be the same. If it's 5/8, 7/8, whatever the muttons are, I expect them to be one as to the other. So.
Okay. Yeah. In lieu of that, that's fine. But, ideally, let's can get that accomplished.
We'll try to figure a little better mousetrap to get some information out to you guys.
Okay. Yeah. Who knows when we're going to be face to face again? So might as well plan for success, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're on to the election of officers. I know that I'm more than happy to serve as chairman again if anybody feels that I've done a decent job.
I'll support that, or I'll make that motion.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
I second it.
Thanks, Martha. All those in favor? Robert?
Oh, are there any other?
No. Anybody else? Are there any other nomination to serve as chair?
Okay, now you could.
Okay, seeing as there are none, all those in favor, Robert?
Aye.
Okay, Steve?
Aye.
Chris already said yes. Mark?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I know we just met. Thank you. Jim?
Aye.
Okay, and I for myself. Okay. Louise Wibbleman, unanimously elected to remain chair for vice chair. I would make a motion that Chris continues in his role as vice chair. Does anybody want to make a second to that motion?
I second.
Madam Chair,
Uh-huh.
why don't for the sake of this, why don't we let somebody other than the chair make the motion?
Okay, Martha, would you like to make a motion to have Chris continue as vice chair if he would accept that position?
I move that Chris continue as vice chair.
Mr.
Okay.
Vogelheim, are you accepting of that?
That'll be delightful.
Delightful, all right. Anybody like to second that motion?
I would.
Okay, Jim, thank you. All those in favor, Robert,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Martha made the motion, I say aye, and Jim seconded, so. Rick, did he leave?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Rick left the building. Okay, so that's a unanimous vote for Chris to remain as vice chair. Are there any other positions that we need to vote on? I know we used to have a secretary and a.
Yeah, there are not, as the city is taking care of that at this point in time. So I believe that we have to have that.
Okay, fantastic. Is there any other business that we need to conduct this evening?
Not at this time, but I will tell you that what's anticipated for the August meeting is windows. So it would be our intent to get on that and get some samples and everything else so that, and it would likely be the Monsons coming for windows for that house. So having said that, I'm going to expect to get some kind of more information than that. And even a sample, if I can get a sample to stay in here for a week, I'll send you folks an email and allow you to, say, hey, look, it's at City Hall. Feel free to come up when you can. I'll put it in the commission room and you can go in and take a look at it.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, encourage them to get samples. Let's make sure we have photos and everything. So, I mean, we can drive.
I would just caution because we're going to have a really big primary in August, and that's going to be like the first. So, we have the Tuesday with them, will be the Wednesday. So, I mean, I'll make it available. It's assuming they can get it to me. I'll make it available somewhere in City Hall where it wouldn't be a high traffic area for people to view it.
Okay, and the next
Thank you.
meeting is August.
Your next meeting is actually August 5th, which would be the Wednesday.
August
The
5th.
primary is August 4th.
Yep. Okay, so Wednesday, August 5th. Okay, fantastic. If you could do that, that'd be much appreciated. Okay, does anybody have any other business, anything they want to discuss or bring up with the group? Okay, then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
All right, Martha, is there a second?
I'll do that. I second.
Okay, Chris, all those in favor? Robert?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Chris?
Yes.
Martha already made, and Jim? And me?
Aye.
Okay, then we unanimously vote to adjourn the July 30th meeting of the Historic District Commission. Anything else?
Yeah, just one other thing. Kevin, welcome again. And I hope you found it interesting.
Yeah, I think I need to do a little bit of studying up on this.
It's
I'm
always
happy to send you any materials that you need. Normally, okay.
Oh, it's a fun group.
All righty.
Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great July
Thank
week.
you.
We'll see you in
Bye,
August.
everybody.
Bye.
Have a long weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, all.